Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to part 4 of Project Singularity. In case you're new here, this is a modded content creator SMP with 14 different YouTubers from across the space collaborating together to beat Minecraft's hardest mod pack. Last time we entered the Steam Age with a few Steam machines, but today Chief Logan isn't on, and I don't want to do a lot of progression right now. What I'm more interested in is expanding my shop, because things are starting to heat up in the shopping district. It's been a few days since I was last recording here, but I did make a deal with Tofu Corp to buy 10 stacks of human flesh, along with another deal with Glistu to buy another 10 stacks of human flesh, and we now have 20 stacks of ingredients back at our base. Additionally, there's been a few sales here, another 24 bronze ingots, but people don't really want this food anymore, because what people want at this point is unique foods. Every time you eat a food, it'll be added to your list of unique foods you've eaten, and every, I think, 20 foods you gain an extra heart. You'll see I have yellow hearts here, which means I have 14 extra hearts from unique foods. But most people have already eaten these, so I had a plan. We're gonna sell all the unique foods. Every single one of them. I have devised a 5-step plan to produce and sell every Pam's Harvest Craft food, and maybe even a few of the Gregtech ones, like these mincemeat pizzas. So this is going to be the main focus of today. Step 1 is to sell all suits. We're going to be mostly defining this by anything that requires stock, with a few extra things to go with, but this will require a lot of things, most importantly onions, which are not growing yet. Okay, but 9 does have some ground gardens for us to get onions, so I'm gonna head to his base. And while we're there, we'll search around. Actually, before we even do that, I know what biomes ground gardens spawn in, and one of them is a savanna, right over there. Oh, and 9 is far off anyways. So why we want a ground garden is because it is the only garden we haven't actually found yet, and this drops a bunch of different things. We have managed to get potatoes and carrots from other sources, as well as stealing some peanuts from Tofu Corp, but everything else here is missing from my farm, and it is the only garden we haven't found. Additionally, I want to pick up any fruit trees I see along the way, because there are a lot of fruit trees in Pam's Harvest Craft. All of these, and I only have about 4 of those. But yeah, that is the goal for this entire episode. So step 1 is all soups. Step 2 is anything with bread or toast. Step 3 is all fruits. Step 4 is basically anything else except for the plants themselves, and then step 5 is the plants themselves. Why we don't sell the plants to start, even though we already have them, is because we don't want them to grow their own food. So I have every seed, and you can turn any raw crop, like this rye and bamboo shoots, you can turn these into seeds really easily, so we don't want to sell the crops directly until the very end. Also, I don't think I have rye seeds, so I'm actually gonna do that. This episode's goal is actually part of a larger goal for the series, because I'm clearly not going to be progressing the farthest, but I still want to try to be the richest member of the server. Right now we technically are. I'm pretty sure no one else has bought this much tofu coin, but that is only if you're measuring wealth by tofu coin, because a lot of people have like bronze and steel sitting around that they could turn into tofu coin, but they just don't want to right now. But I want to keep this title. I want to stay the richest, and so we're going to start by getting this food store, selling every unique food, and if this store gets good enough, I could probably overtake Tofu Coin with my own currency, which would allow me to get a lot more rich, because in case it wasn't clear already, Tofu Corp is getting insanely rich off of the fact that everyone has to go through them first if they want to make a trade deal. But if we can control the currency, then people will have to come to us to trade bronze for coins, or later it's probably going to be something a lot more valuable than bronze. Oh, those are ground gardens. Okay. Night is rapidly approaching, but I will take these. I'm not going to break them into all their various vegetables, because I want to take these back home and let them spread. Wow, this would have been a cool place to settle. Huge mountain and forests. Might be a bit too close to spawn, though. This is basically part of the shopping district. Haven't found any fruit trees yet, but yeah, the first end of this episode is probably going to be a lot of searching, because there's a lot of ingredients I can't get at my base, and some people haven't even found these things yet. Not a lot of people are online right now either, so I can't make a lot of deals, but I will do anything for this business. Since this search for crops took multiple hours with nothing interesting happening, I'll speed this up for you. After making a quick deal with Neurotic Goose's team, the ducklings, I ended up finding every ground crop except for one basically useless cactus fruit, and found every tree except for apricot and cinnamon, which was later brought to me by the duckling member Mastiox. Finally, after getting all these crops, I put together a pantry to more easily manage the soon-to-be mountain of foods we would be dealing with. So since this is a 1.7 pack, we can't put chests next to each other. So I'm gonna have to make some trapped chests in between. But as you can imagine, trapped chests are not that easy to make, because it's GTNH. Each one needs 4 iron, and I'm probably gonna burn through my file making all these rods. It will be a while before we have better rod recipes and stuff, so I'm just gonna have to live with this. And there goes my hammer. Well, I actually wanted to test this. I went to an amethyst geode a while ago, got a bunch of amethyst. I want to see how good of a hammer it makes. Because there's nothing else we can do with amethyst, so might as well use it to save on iron. Okay, there's 16 tripwire hooks. And you're gonna eat my screwdriver too? Awesome. This was the cheaper of the two options. I was originally thinking of putting iron chests here, but that would take 4 stacks of iron. So there we go. This is our little storage room. And now I've organized all this. So we have a row for tree-grown stuff, crops, meats, a specific chest for human meat, and then all the finished foods here, and then more for crops here, just in case I stockpile soybeans or barley. And so now I can take all the stuff from these chests and move it into here. This is now all organized, and we have way more space than we would ever need. None of these chests even go past 3 rows full, except for trees. But yeah, this is quite literally the fruits of our labor. So now I'm melting down a bunch more obsidianite to make an excavator. And the excavator works a lot like our mining hammer, but it works on dirt and gravel. And this is so that we can clear a huge area on the surface. I want an orchard for all of our fruit trees, probably get 2 or 3 of each of those, and then I want to greatly expand our farms for all the other crops, because we currently have 2 of every Pam's crop, but 2 is probably not enough, so I'll try to get like a row of 9, and that will require a gigantic field, so that's what we're gonna build. An excavator needs an excavator head, a tough binding, and a tough rod. I don't know if it needs more than that, I'll go check. Yes, it does need a large plate as well. And that brings the total cost of this to 22 obsidianite, which is quite expensive, but this thing will basically never break because of the way obsidianite is. It is crazy that we can get steel to alloy into this stuff already. And I don't actually know if I showed this on camera yet, but I have been working on expanding the surface area to look a lot nicer. So this tunnel's gonna be 3x3 now. And I've finally moved all the animals into proper pens, separated out the cows and sheep, and then also brought some chickens over here. And that means that the old pit down there is out of commission. But yeah, this is the farm as it is now. This needs to be tripled in size for our purposes, and then this entire hillside needs to be stripped bare and turned into a giant tree farm. Might actually work across the river as well. Actually, yeah, we'll keep the tree farm across the river. So that's what we're gonna start with, because we did just get all of those saplings, and the trees are probably gonna take the longest. Oh, there's a dire wolf here, which just randomly gains aggro. Little does he know I've applied over 200 quartz to my Hecu axe, and it now deals 16 damage. This pig wants a taste as well. Okay. Now that I have a little bit of a layout here, I need to do some math. There are 30 saplings. Holy. Okay. We need to build an orchard for 30 different trees. Half an hour later, I'm finally done building this. That took forever to dig out and even longer to build all the decorations. I am liking the deep slate and greatwood. Hopefully greatwood doesn't look too different for the people who aren't playing with modernity, but it's my base and me and Chief Logan both use modernity, so it should be fine. So now that it's complete, this farm can take around 48 saplings, a lot of which will probably be peppercorn and avocados and other useful things, but we will have one of each Pam's Harvest Craft sapling. There's 30 here, 48 spots there, and so the extra 18 will just be filled in with extra saplings. I do really like how this looks. Our surface base is turning out pretty well, and my plan to let the terrain shape the base instead of the other way around is going great, because I'm ending up with this sort of terrace design, and I actually really like it. And so now we have everything ready. We have the jungle saplings, we have an area cleared out, so I'm going to start taking these and turning them into usable trees. And so now we can take this plot and plant all of these trees, leaving rows for olives and peppercorn, which we're going to use especially much. I'm just going to let these trees grow up before I can plant more. And then we just need to repeat that process for all of the fruits. And so there we go, that is every tree we currently have planted. We are only missing 4, actually. We are missing apricots, which are just another fruit. We are missing cinnamon, though I've seen some around the village base. We are missing pecans, which is probably the most annoying because I actually don't know where any of those are. And we are missing pistachios, which I actually have marked on the map. I disabled the waypoint, but right here there's a pistachio tree. So we're very close to done, but we don't need any of that for phase 1. Right now we need limes, we need peppercorn, and we need avocados, which we already have planted here. But before we begin cooking up a bunch of soups, I want to introduce some tech that I found on my own. I don't know if this is known to anyone else, but since this nutmeg tree only has 2 pieces of nutmeg, we're gonna try to improve this tree. And so how we're gonna do that is we're gonna completely chop it down and use some logs to suspend the leaves here. And then we can craft a new nutmeg sapling and plant it right here. Now, the game does try to stop me from doing this because when this tree grows, it will check for any nutmeg plants in this area and prevent it from growing if there is. But all of our nutmeg is on the edges, and if anything was on the inside, I could just remove that. So we can bone meal this, and there we go. There's 3 more nutmeg here, and you'll notice the tree's a different height, but it doesn't matter. Any nutmeg that was here before continues growing just fine, and we can actually just repeat this if we want to, which I do, because I want to see how far I can take this. So there we go. Oh, wow. So this is where this tech gets a little bit crazy, because now look at how much nutmeg is on this tree. We started with 2, and now we have, I think there's 10 or 11, so this is much better now. Now the final thing we need to do before we cook up everything for the shop, we need to expand the farm, the actual, like, crop fields, because we only have 2 of every crop, and that's not enough. We need way more than 2. A few of them I've piled up, like tomatoes and lettuce and soybeans, but we still need like maybe 8 of every crop, just so that we can craft huge amounts of everything. Because remember, we're running a store here. This isn't for personal use. So to start with the new fields, we need to clear out all of this. I don't know how I'm gonna make this look nice, how I'm gonna organize it, but I'm gonna try my best. Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, this is gonna be the worst part of cleanup, because we had the water creeper back in episode 1. Haven't tried to clean it up for this exact reason. One of those guys is infernal. A lot of them are... What is happening? Hold on. I think it would be worthwhile to do that. Only some of these blocks are infested, though. I might have just gotten unlucky. But yeah, we're gonna have to clean up this whole hillside. And while I'm working on this, I'll come up with ideas to make it look nice. Oh, that took forever. Genuinely, I forgot I was recording by the end of that. Okay, so I'm thinking we do another terrace, much like all of these mini terraces we've had on all these farms. Why does that keep happening? Now it's happening more. Anyways, as I was saying, we have a bunch of mini terraces here. But I think we'll have one unified row of a bunch of farms, kind of like we have our orchard over there. And then I think that can get us like 5 plots, and then I'll clear out this plot for more important crops like lettuce. And so each plot will have 9 crops. Okay, so I've marked out the area we're gonna be farming. and it's kind of huge. So we have this whole area, which is an overhang over the chicken farm. And I'm trying to keep these all in 9x9 squares to maximize each water. So this is one field, this is another field, there's another one here. And in total, there's 7 going all the way down here. And so with 9 crops per field and 7 fields, we can have up to 63 different crops here, even though we only actually have 60. Again, we're going a bit overkill, just a little bit, but if we want to keep up with our competition, we have to be overkill. Our main competition is Tofu Corp, which has the largest fields, but they don't really have a lot of variety in those fields, it's just peanuts and soybeans. And then the Ducklings, which have a lot of trees. I think now they have less trees than me, but they don't have as much of a field. And so I think I'm beating both teams on both of those now. I don't think they're focused on getting all foods like I am, though. They all want it, which means that when I finish this, I'll be pretty successful, but they don't want it bad enough that they're gonna stop progression like I am. I'm starting to get the same satisfaction of building that I got in TFG. Like in TFG, everything you built would take so long. Chisel every brick, mix together all the mortar, deal with all the supports, you have to saw all the planks. I'm getting kind of the same experience here, even though it's not really... It doesn't take as long to build, but I feel like it is still pretty difficult working around everything. Alright, so here's my plan for tilling. I don't want to use a mattock, because I'd have to repair it 100 times, use all of our bronze or steel, depending on which mattock I'm using. And I don't want to use any of the hoes at spawn, because, well, they do have a lot of durability. They're king slime. They don't have infinite durability, and I'd still need like 5 of them, which would use a ton of tofu coin. So instead what we're doing is we're crafting up a bunch of wooden hoes, because wooden hoes are cheap. Now, they don't last very long. In fact, in GTNH, tilling uses a ton of durability. You can see this thing's just evaporating. But it's not like they cost anything. Okay, so 7 hoes can do that, so I'd say maybe 30 to do the whole area. There we go. That used all of my wood, but we now have a gigantic field. This farming part was only supposed to take about an hour, and then cooking and searching for ingredients would be the rest, but searching for ingredients seems to be extremely easy, compared to what I expected at least. And cooking is probably just going to be a matter of NEI auto-crafting. I think setting up the farms like this is going to be the majority of my time this episode. If this isn't the largest farm on the server, it has to be the most well-decorated, putting probably too much work into this. I think I have everything built now. We have the walls here, pretty happy with them. Deep slate and great wood go very well together. But yeah, now I need to set up chests for each of these plots, and then plant everything. Okay, Mastiox is coming to buy some of the fruits we have, and he is willing to just straight up take away the IOU for the vacuum tubes, which is great. So we have shared trees. Now, unfortunately, this is basically just giving stuff to our competition, but at least it's not giving vacuum tubes, because that would take forever. I don't want to make vacuum tubes. We're going to start planting these crops, by the way. I'm going to stop sitting around.
What is wrong with your goose?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, I don't...
What happened?
Don't worry about it. You're worrying too much.
Sideways logs.
Branches, you know?
Alright, you also had the sideways things on this one.
Yeah, very strange how that works.
I don't have the I don't know what the heck this is called, permissions.
Take as much as you want on the one condition that I no longer owe you vacuum tubes.
Okay, I'm sure you don't want to craft them anyway.
I really don't want to craft vacuum tubes.
I'm thinking about how I want to build a cafeteria-esque like restaurant at spawn though.
Well, I'm just gonna warn you, I'm gonna make it very competitive in the food market, because I know it's only gonna be a market for a short period of time. Okay, so I'm either gonna buy out your business, or I'm gonna run your business into the ground with just sheer numbers.
Based on how my business model works, you can technically just sabotage, but I feel like that would be quite mean.
Yeah, well, I'm role-playing the evil mega corporation, so deal with it.
No, I mean just stuff of how it's based. Like, I can tell you what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna do an all-you-can-eat buffet. You're gonna have 5 minutes to make as much stuff and eat it in 5 minutes.
Wait a minute. That does sound really funny, and I think most of your sales are gonna come from me attempting to just deplete your stock.
You don't have this, right? The pecan?
No, I don't. Wait, that was the only one I hadn't located.
I just found it on a tree. I can grow it at your base if you want to share.
Yeah. Well, how about that? We have a trade deal. We can share crop. So yeah, that's the
and
other
cherries.
thing. I have an offer for you here, okay? Because we're both trying to do food in the shopping district, trying to sell a bunch of unique foods. Can we do a bit of a partnership? Can we work together on this? Because I feel like competition isn't gonna work out very well when this business is only gonna work for the next 2 weeks.
I was thinking about, like, partnering, but 3 and Sawyer like, oh, you gotta compete. Like, I feel like we could do a lot more funny business if we just if we just combined our efforts.
Like no one else is trying to sell food. I guess a Tofu Corp, but they only have 3 sandwiches, okay? So we can kind of monopolize, and then just drive up the prices as much as we want, like any good corporation. Because they will buy it eventually. Like, it's all the unique foods. What, are you gonna make it yourself?
No, we're just gonna bully people. We're just gonna bully you for not having blue hearts.
Yeah, there's the other thing. Much like any good corporation, we create a culture around our food that if you don't have a full row of pink hearts, you're a loser and you should feel bad. I think we can partner up and maybe share profits a little bit. We can work out the details later, but we work together. You already have, like, the huge... I don't even know how your setup works. Are those fridges, are they just for storage, or wait, there's cooking for blockheads?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay. Yeah, that would have been good to know before I built an entire room just to store food.
It makes this way easier. So I'll just
I've been setting up all the infrastructure to try to streamline, like, food transportation and organize it into a bunch of chests. I could have just lined up a bunch of fridges and spammed it all into there.
Yeah, that's what I did.
But yeah, you already have the infrastructure, you have the late game resources from Goose, and then I have the farming, because I'm pretty sure you don't have a field like this, right?
I don't have a giant plantation, no. I wanted to make it, but it's annoying.
It is annoying. I've been working on this for 4 hours now. You know, I've only played Silksong 30 minutes today. That's the least Silksong I've done in 65 days.
65 days, dang. Yeah, I'm doing fish too, so don't worry about the fish.
Okay, that was the main thing I was worried about. I had plans for everything else to scale up, but I did not know how to deal with fish.
They're really easy if you know what to do, but it's kind of annoying.
Okay, well, I guess since we're business partners, I should explain what the hell's going on with those trees. I did some research today and figured out that you can just keep regrowing trees using logs to save the old leaves, and just keep spawning in more buds to grow fruit.
That's crazy.
The annoying part is you have to remove all of the buds that are adjacent to the trunk of the tree, and that takes a long time. You have to punch it, there's no valid tool, it takes like 20 seconds to break a bud, and that's why I haven't done it to all of the trees. But the important ones like peppercorn and vanilla I have. Also, did you see the thumbnail and title for my new video? Because it's like the most outrageous thing ever.
No, not yet.
Usually in my thumbnails, I have like a word at the top, sometimes a word at the bottom, item in the middle. This time it was cannibalism, and then just a picture of human meat. Well, it has been a few days since that recording, and I've spent the past few days just occasionally hopping on here just to harvest the farm and deal with all the animals. I have not done anything substantial though, because I've had to edit a lot. We do in fact have every crop and every tree, and we can begin working on all the foods, but Mastiox has also told me of a much better way of cooking these foods, using a Cooking for Blockheads kitchen, which I have known about for a while. I used it a lot in E2E, but I did not know it was in GTNH, and I especially didn't know it was accessible this early on. We can just make a kitchen, put all of our ingredients in a fridge, and all those ingredients will be accessible from a crafting table, where we can just craft everything easily. Now, I probably won't put all of our ingredients in a fridge, because there is so much up there on the top level. But we can put the important ingredients and maybe like a stack of each crop. And so with everything harvested, I think I can work on a kitchen like that. We just need a little bit of iron and some compressed wood pulp, which we can do with our steam machines. Oh yeah, Mastiox said he got a bunch of bone meal. I guess he just dropped it off here. Honestly, I'm gonna leave that in the chest, because I don't really need it right now, but that's really useful for trees, because every fruit on a tree can instantly be grown with just 1 bone meal. So the first thing we'll need for this kitchen is a cooking table, which needs this book, which needs this book, which is just a book in a furnace. Oh, I don't have fuel in here. I can just use some sticks. And so now we can take the cooked book, which is now a cookbook, and combine the cooked cookbook with some crafting tables to make a cookbook 2, and turn that into a cooking table. And then with just a few basic iron components, we can make 6 fridges, and I think that's actually everything we need. And so now, connected to this cooking table, I can put any part of the multi-block kitchen. In this case, we only have fridges, and I could probably just hide these behind the wall, because I think it connects through the wall like that. Let me just test that first, though. If I put some melons in here, yep, we can make melon juice. That means I can put a soft melon in here, and there we go, that's melon juice. So we can start stacking a bunch of foods into there, and with just that, we already have a few pages of food. So I'm gonna quickly do the math to see how much is required for every single soup, and then get everything we need for that in these fridges, and we'll craft all we need for phase 1. And there we go, I believe this is every soup. And so now I can take all this soup to the shopping district. Oh, this is much nicer. Florbin did some terraforming. Whoa! Oh, it's a bit incomplete, but there's a proper cliffside. I like where this is going. There's Vix News. By the way, Vix News made an amazing video a few days ago. I mean, a terrible video. They painted me as a villain. Like, come on. For now, I'm gonna put all of the soups in these chests. We will probably later this episode do a full expansion on the store, but right now I just want to start selling stuff so that we can start making a profit off of all of this. So we are now selling all soups. They can buy 4 different soups for 1 hecubuck, and hecubucks they can get here for these prices. So you can see we're introducing vacuum tubes into the exchange rate, and then other than that it's pretty much similar to tofu coin, except also, they can trade in 32 human flesh. I might up that to 64 if people overuse that, but we're most likely going to be getting a lot of human flesh here. But I'm going to head back to the base and grab some building materials and maybe some other foods, and we'll eventually come back here to check on that. Well, actually, originally after recording that, I was planning to go to bed and wait for the next day, but Logan has just hopped on. And so instead, we're gonna do the Gregtech thing. We're not gonna sleep, and we're gonna merely scale up production a ton. We're gonna maximize all of these trees using the tech I discovered to try to get as much production as possible, and then get all of the foods. But yeah, I'm gonna head into VC with him now.
This is the sort of farm where by the time you've harvested it, the other side has already grown.
Yeah, and then also I have to spend quite a while. I actually made 2 new backpacks just to transport crops from up here down to the kitchen, because there's so many different crops. This is a side of GTNH I don't think people see a lot. It's still definitely GTNH in the way I just have to scale it up to such a ridiculous extreme, but it's also farming. So this is phase 2. We will need like 800 pieces of bread to do this, which means a lot of flour, a lot of dough. Then also I need stuff like butter in every recipe, there's cheese in every recipe. Still can't get more milk from the cows. Mastiox is offline, so I can't get silk and tofu and soy milk to replace the milk cost. So things are just gonna get very annoying.
On the bright side, liquid fueled firebox.
That is actually very nice. I'm gonna watch this so that I have something to edit.
I'm assuming that it's going to output to the tank bit, so therefore we're going to just put it there.
Railcraft boilers don't explode, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think these are safe. Okay, I've never seen these before. It's heating up, it has no water. That makes me very scared, I don't like that. So this is burning creosote oil, taking in water, much like our boilers, but just with creosote, and then outputting steam through the top tank.
It does seem to have a 16,000 millibucket buffer, which is nice. So even before we get to a tank, that's more than what these are holding. Oh no, it's the exact same that these are holding.
Yeah, 16 buckets seems like kind of a standard. Anyways, that's not for me, I still have to make food.
That's your entire life at this point.
That's gonna be this whole stream, just It's that SpongeBob meme of Squidward watching, except it's just me watching you do the cool progression. So I've collected a bunch of butter and cheese and milk and cream, and so I should finally be able to actually start crafting all of this stuff. Why can't I make this? Okay, you need some kind of cooked meat, and you also need bread. Bread will be the problem. Oh, fun. I'm gonna have to turn half a stack of iron into mortars for flour.
That's fine.
Don't know why you hesitated there. Okay, as the next step of making all the bread-based foods, I have crafted up, I think this is 14 stacks of flour. I might as well just do a little bit more. I can still make 2 more mortars. I have actually used half a stack of iron, by the way. That was not an exaggeration. Turned it all into mortars and broke them. And now I can convert this all into dough. I'm glad I know about this cauldron tech. I did not know about this in my first GTNH playthrough, and making this much dough would be actually psychotic without this. Because yeah, here I can do 3 stacks of dough with 1 bucket of water, but I would need 5 stacks of water buckets to get that dough the normal way. Who's this?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, Massiox.
Hey.
I'm working on all the bread items. I so far have the Plowman's Lunch, the footlong, and the ham and sweet pickle sandwich.
Oh wait, I forgot you don't have the steam oven. I was like, what are you doing?
Rich person goes to South Sudan and asks where all the phones are. Please stop whatever you're doing. I cannot craft.
I didn't touch anything.
It's reloading the entire page whenever I craft an item. I need more vinegar. I can't do this. I've hit my limit. Whoa, okay. An enchantment table? Okay, Chief Logan did some work while I was off. Ultimate Stew is crazy. We obviously can't make this right now, and so that's a unique food that other people can't really get. And also a composite vest. That's a little bit better than what I have. Brewing stand and an enchantment table. This is supposed to be impossible right now. So that's kind of crazy. I think we can make Cursed Earth with this. I'm gonna leave that in the chest. So it's been a few days since that live stream with Chief Logan, and yeah, we made an iron tank here that can hold 576 buckets of steam. We made a low pressure boiler here. Chief Logan's gonna replace this tank with steel so that it's 4 times better, and then we have still these 2 coal boilers, so the steam setup is mostly the same, but also much better pipes. But we are still working on food. I did a little bit between recordings. We now have all of the Pam's sandwiches, so I'm thinking right now I'll get through the Gregtech sandwiches. Whoa! Wait, what? So this is where the other teams have been going. I know Chief Logan went to a bunch of Minesweeper minigames, but I didn't realize you could get LV components from that. So that's why everyone's so rich. Anyways, every sandwich and bread item is done now. I had to split it into 2 backpacks. So phase 2 is done. Anyways, we're gonna expand that shop now. And to do that, I will need a few more building blocks. So we're gonna go down to the bottom of the world with a mining hammer, and we're gonna mine some deep slate. So we're not only gonna expand the store, but we're also gonna revamp how it looks now, because we were building with very limited resources. I want to mess around with gradients for the first time. I think the bottom level, I'll try to do a transition from deep slate to cobblestone, and then yeah, we're gonna have a second floor, and I have a rough idea of how I'm gonna make the build look. There we go. I learned a little bit about how unique foods work. It's not based on how many unique foods you eat. What? I'm not gonna worry about that. It's not based on how many unique foods you eat, but rather how much hunger you've gained from unique food. So yeah, making 100 smoothies isn't actually that effective. You want to get the really good stuff. Also, another thing, I still don't have piston boots. Before we go to spawn with all these building blocks, I would like piston boots because they let you jump really high, which would mean that I can use my glider, because I have not used my glider. I got a free glider from Tofu Corp back in, I think, episode 3. I just haven't used it, though. So we're gonna make some piston boots. But yeah, the glider is sort of just like a poor man's elytra, and while we can't use anything like rockets on it, it is really good if you can just get high, and you can start moving very far, very fast. Okay, yeah, it is just a jump boost. I'll always be jumping this high. And it's not going to be very useful in our base, but like here, That's a bit of a glide, and then I can press shift to go even faster. Also not very useful on the nether highway, but it's useful enough that I could probably go a bit faster, which is important. Okay, we're gonna take these resources and see what we can build. I don't know if I showed this on camera, but Tofu Corp just built this shop, if you even want to call it that. It's they literally just put chests on the ground. Okay, so we have a bit of a gradient going on here, from deep slate to tough to chiseled stone bricks to cobblestone, and I think it looks actually pretty good. We just have to do this around the whole building, and we'll have a pretty nice store. Well, I was gonna continue building, but it doesn't really seem like that's a good idea right now. I think I'm safe in here, but I have no clue how many of them are outside. I might as well work on this basement area then. Tail spider? What, hornet? Silksong? How many are there? No, now I actually want to go out there. Unironically. What the? What is this? I think mob griefing's off, or else I'd nuke the shopping district here. That guy's on a horse, okay. Good thing I also have a shit ton of health. Okay, that was an armor creeper, and it just destroyed all of my armor. Even my new composite vest is now at 85%. Okay, no. That's bad. I don't know why I decided to do that. Oh, I just got another new heart. That would put us at 8 green hearts if I was at full health. Okay, I've fully replaced all the walls and disassembled the roof here. And now we have our store expansion over there. So we're gonna move these chests onto the wall here. And I'm just using a bunch of placeholder blocks for this, but there's going to be double chests here, 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 and all the way through here. And then we'll have a second floor, and this will probably be mostly decorational, but we're going to have a restaurant, indoor restaurant, and then outdoor restaurant over here. You'll see what I mean when I build it. So, I don't actually know how I'm gonna format these kinds of builds in the video, because time lapses are kinda difficult. Replay mod doesn't exist in this version as far as I know, and if it does, I know it's incompatible with Gregtech. Blurbin has a camera account to do that kind of thing, but it seems like a hassle to get a second Minecraft account. I'll have to look into it. In the past, I've just invited a friend to just sit there and record, essentially as a camera account. That's how I've done time lapses in TFG. But first of all, that wastes their time greatly, and also I'm not just gonna invite my friends on randomly to hold them hostage for a time lapse, especially when I'm gonna do so many here. Like TFG, you had like 2 time lapses, I think, and those were kind of big deals. But here, there's gonna be a lot of machines, there's gonna be a lot of random structures like this, and if I were to invite my friend for all of those, it would just take a really long time to upload each video, and I'd be wasting his time. But also, I'm fairly sure I've cut out most of this build. In fact, I'm talking here so that someone can see this. This has been almost 2 hours of just collecting and placing all these blocks, but there's not really anything I can do in the video for that. Maybe I did a building montage? I don't know, it's gonna be like a week before I actually edit through this. But in the past, building montages have always just not felt quite right. They've always been kind of annoying to make, and I never feel like they're good. Show them to a friend and they think it's fine. I guess when you make something, you'll always hate it a lot more than everyone else. But anyways, whatever I go with, I would definitely like some feedback, because this is kind of a new style for me still. Like, it's a lot like TFG. Doing Project Singularity is a lot like TFG, but suddenly there's other people. I have to edit through their voices, and I have to somehow make it flow when I'm dealing with what is essentially a live recording whenever Logan's on. And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to learn, all while trying to keep up with everyone, because It seems like everyone else is putting off editing until they're done LV, which seems kind of like a bad idea. Like, it's just going to creep up on you, and eventually you're going to have to hop off the server for a week. But yeah, because I'm not actually just spending all my time on the server, because I'm trying to get through what I have, I'm going behind. Anyways, this roof is done, and the building's looking very nice. Oh yeah, I like this, actually. So I think that's the whole restaurant done. This top floor is mostly decorational. I don't actually know if people are going to use it much, but it's sort of a social area, and then maybe in the future I can use it for something, but this is where the real stuff happens. We have all of our soups and sandwiches, and plenty of chests for extra stock in the future. I could probably even add some chests here, or reuse some upstairs space, because there are a lot of foods. Also, probably upgrade these to iron chests to double their space, but yeah, this building's looking very nice now. It's taken forever to build, but this is my first time trying to experiment with a gradient, and I think I did pretty good. But apparently Soycake saw that I was building something this big, and they're gonna take their Tofu Corp stand and turn it into less of a stand, so we have competition still. Though they're branching out into more of the resources. Oh, I probably could have bought some glass, honestly. And I'm sticking to food for now. I definitely have to finish cooking everything before I think about doing other things, but building blocks are probably gonna be my specialty. They seem to be going towards ingots and stuff, so I think they'll be selling LV components. But yeah, time to go back to the kitchen for like 20 hours and finish up this episode. I just maxed out dairy, which gets me 7 blue hearts after a bunch of unique foods. And now, after almost 2 hours straight of microcrafting, I think we have all of the foods I've actually eaten so far, apart from the raw crops. This is everything we're gonna sell that we've already eaten, and why we've done this is so that this list, not yet eaten, is also not yet made. Wow, there's only 3 pages left. Anyways, I'm gonna double check to make sure that this list is everything left, because I don't want to go through all of that and then someone points out that there's like 3 sandwiches I was missing because I ate it from a quest reward but then couldn't find it in my kitchen. Because it is very hard to keep track of everything I've made and everything I've eaten when a lot of it, you know, was eaten, and so it's not sitting around anymore. But the finish line is in sight. We have a concise list of what I need to make. I can finally be done with this episode. Also, Flurbin and Nine are hopping on in about an hour, and Flurbin said he would come by my store, and I think it would be a wonderful advertisement if I filled the store with all of the foods I've been making for so long. So I need to do that within the next hour. Because, like, he's going in just expecting 2 food groups, which is what I have now. If he ends up finding over 200 different Pam's foods and gains like a row of health off of it, then he'll love my store. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get all the fruit-based things. All the jellies, all the smoothies, all the juices. I already have all the ice cream, and then also all the pies. And now, after a little bit of tweaking, this is all of the fruit. There's a little bit missing, of course, with the cactus fruit juice, but I think that's everything. And so we'll have to take this all back.
It's okay.
Thank you, Ba. I will be back home in around 24 hours, and I expect the shop to be fully stocked because I am hungry.
So, we've already made some pretty crazy sales, and that was with really low prices. We need more. Clearly, there's a lot of demand, and we need to fulfill that demand. So, it's time to work through the rest of this list. So, that's all sandwiches. I got a few to snack on myself. All we're missing is the honey sandwich, and that needs honey, so I ordered some from Mastiox, who is also surprised by how much honey I need. I've used 11 stacks of honey today. It just doesn't stop. Oh, Mastiox brings gifts. Yep, there's my honey. Okay. Yeah, so because of our business partnership, we can sort of just stop into each other's bases and use each other's kitchens to give ourselves both full health. But he's benefiting off of that way more than I am because I have all the ingredients. I don't really get much from going to his place. But he does have a bunch of forestry plants, which is what he just threw at me. I really hate forestry. I don't want to progress through forestry, and so having all these random fruits that I never have to make myself is quite nice. Is this steel leaf? It is! You gave me steel leaf soft mallets! Compare the durability here. 12,000 versus 614,000. This is not even a fair comparison. I finally don't have to worry about that stupid stuff. Rolling pins are still a problem, but there's not a lot of food left. I'm starting to feel like I'm in the home stretch. We've gone through so many foods now. Inventory's constantly filling up, so I have to just go over here and eat all the foods that I'm throwing in my inventory. Backpack's still full of sandwiches, just not gonna deal with them. So I've probably cut through the vast majority of this cooking, but since I'm on the last few foods that won't even show up in the kitchen because they're so random and hard to make, I think I'm just gonna show the process here. So here we need a little bit of mayo for a fish sandwich. And a chicken sandwich, apparently. I'll take that as well. Because we're already selling fish and chicken sandwiches, but there's leafy versions that I didn't make originally that just need lettuce, but they're a different food. And then that's 2 new foods, and so now I go back to the starvation room and jump around for a bit. It's GTNH though, so I don't really have to wait long before all my hunger depletes. And then we throw that away in here. Now, there's not a lot of foods here. Well, that's because this is like the 8th chest I've gone through. This is what we're dealing with. This one isn't from recently. This is just old foods that were overflow, but you can tell which ones are from today in the past few days. Oh, but apparently, by getting a bunch of mayo, I have unleashed some kind of demon in my kitchen, and I have to craft a bunch of new foods that weren't here just a few seconds ago. But this is actually a good thing, because otherwise I'd be playing hide and seek with all these foods in NEI. So now, rinse and repeat. We'll take this to the corner and jump around for a bit. I'm basically doing what Mastiox has already done times 12. And then selling it for a huge profit. The big motivator was getting all that redstone, because suddenly I realized there's demand. He was willing to buy it even if it didn't cost so little redstone. Another heart. I think I'm tied with Mastiox. And I believe we're also out of salt. Here's the fun thing about salt. It is the easiest thing to make, and also the worst. Because I have to go like this. Every salt needs 1 fresh water, because I can just put it in the pot like this, but that just means I sit here at the crafting table crafting fresh water out of buckets, because 1 bucket turns into 4 fresh water, and then I just repeat that forever. Sorry if I sound a little bit dead right now. I've been cooking literally all day, and it's also 2:30 a.m., but I'm so close now that I don't want to stop. Sunk cost fallacy. And once again, I've overlooked something. I need spaghetti and meatballs, which needs spaghetti, which means I need more pasta, which means I need more salt. Oh. Next episode, when we start building the blast furnace, and we build all the large steam machines, and we, like, complete the entire steam age in 1 episode, it's gonna feel so easy. Even GTNH Steam Age progression is gonna be nothing compared to the sheer number of resources and just microcrafting. Not even microcrafting, this is macrocrafting right here. I need another like 8 stacks of fresh water. I don't even know how many times I've sat here at the crafting station getting fresh water. It's been enough that I'm depleting the tank. Okay, here's where we're at. At this Yorkshire pudding here, I thought I was done, because everything I could make in my fridge was complete. This is where we've gone since then. There's still so much more to make. I've done the bean burrito, avocado burrito, I have nachos. Have I done the fish taco yet? No, I haven't. I need to finish a fish taco and then I can be done with this section. After fish tacos though, what's next? Strawberry salad. Sure. Grape salad. There's just 2 random salads here. Watch this, I'm gonna open the kitchen, and there's gonna be 10 new recipes based on this cooked cod. Okay, well it wasn't 10, but it was 3, which is really annoying. There's so much. Yeah, I'm calling that. Okay, just interrupting that ingredient search to check on my shop. I'm actually scared to look in here. That's so much steel! That's so... Oh, and they haven't even gotten started! We have so much food for them. Okay, so we're making profit, that's for damn sure. I know some teams find this much steel pretty useless, but this will be the catalyst for next episode. We just earned like 120 steel. No, 100, just 100, what am I saying? And so now finally, the last of the obtainable Pam's Harvest Craft foods, rainbow curry. This one was a nightmare to make, because it just needs a bunch of random flowers. But there's 12, and wow, it gives a bunch of hunger. And so now finally to eat the last few unique foods. And there's another heart. Jeez, another, even pinker heart. I thought we were already on pink hearts, but that's more pink. But then we're still not done because we have this cake room, where I now have to eat every single cake for the unique foods. But that should be everything now. I can type in food list size, and that's how many hunger points worth of food I've eaten. With a total of 51 bonus hearts plus my nutrition, making it 61, so in total I have 71 hearts right now. The only foods left are mostly forestry fruit, which is just really annoying to make. A few meats that are also just really annoying to make. And then all these sodas, which are unobtainable right now because we can't make bubbly water until we have a brewery. But now comes the even harder part than making all the foods. Moving them all. We have to take these all to the store. I have no clue how I'm even going to get started on this. We're not going to have any organization taking the food there, so we're just going to throw everything into this barrel. I think this can be picked up by a dolly. I'm kind of just assuming it can. Dolly does work on the gold barrel. Okay. There's our diamond chest and gold barrel, and I recently got haste 2 on my piston boots, which just gives me a speed boost when walking. And then also I can use my glider here, and that should negate all the speed debuffs for carrying so much stuff in these chests. Oh, jeez. Okay. I didn't need more to deal with. We have another 2 stacks of steel. This is so profitable. Like, I knew it'd be pretty good, but I was not expecting anything to this extent. And now I think this is the last load of stuff we have to bring to the store. I'm probably gonna have to head back here to grab more resources just to, like... sell it all. I think I did the math. I think I need 24 double chests, assuming I have 18 unique foods per double chest. It might be more than that, though. This is just gonna take forever now. So moving it all here was pretty difficult. Took like an hour, but now we have to move it from the bottom floor up here, where we actually sell it. And that means I need to organize it. I'll just cut this all out. So after 3 hours, I have everything put into these chests. And you can see there's a bunch of holes in here, and that's because we've already got a bunch of sales. Neurotic Goose came in while I was stocking it, dropped off just an absolutely insane amount of steel and copper.
It's like the best way to make progress, it seems.
I just looked in the payment chest, and then completely looted the place. He ravaged it, he took everything. So now I can't even have my outro with full chests. I don't want to restock this, because that's too much. But we have a fairly organized store here. There's the cake chest here, tree-grown fruits here, we have all the soups, and then deluxe foods. These need 2 hecubucks rather than just 1. But then, this is how it started, and this is how it ended. I gave up on organization, just spammed out a bunch of iron chests, and dumped all the food in there because it was taking forever to just pick out each food, line them up in a nice aesthetic way. I mean, it looks really great in these chests, but then I just could not be bothered to organize all of these. But this is every Pam's food now, and we're already making a fortune off of it. So the episode's mission is successful, we're insanely rich, and next time we'll actually get to some progression. So thank you all for watching, and God bless.